Oh, here we go. Mike, it's finally happened. Now, God, I didn't want to start. I didn't want to start this podcast with aggression, but I think it's immediately obvious to everyone that when I was a guest on your podcast, which you so graciously allowed me to be on, your wonderful program, I was there in person. I did fly to New York City just to see that smiling face of yours. And now we've had a Zoom system, which clearly you can see we're not inept at setting up after we were supposed to start 25 minutes ago.
You promised me the most high-tech experience imaginable. I thought it was going to be like this hollow deck, and I just am there in the room with you, and you dropped the ball. So I'm not going to take the L on this.
Next time we'll do it, I'll have Nintendo Power Gloves on both of my hands. That way there's no worry from the technical side we'll have.
I like the idea of the hollow deck. That's something we'll look into. Can we
hollow deck? That's from Star Trek, also, Matthew.
Yeah, I want to be able to see a hologram of Mike, full body, standing in front of us.
I've been getting scans done, so we'll make that happen.
Perfect.
Well, Mike, thanks for being here anyways. It's good to see you, dude. How you holding up out there, by the way?
I kept getting a bunch of notifications that a new wildfire has started today. It's far from me, but I've got this app that just pings you like anytime a new evacuation zone is added. I'm just chilling. I'm good. Air quality sucks a little bit, but I've been pretty lucky, and I'm still kind of far from any of the fires, so.
I'm glad, pal. I think something I was wondering, though, is that, like, can you even, like, fly out of Los Angeles and stuff now, or is there too much smoke? Because I know from Matthew and his aviation prowess that visibility is, like, the number one problem when you're flying planes. Isn't that right?
Not big planes.
Oh, I thought
when you're flying, like, little mini planes, big planes, you need zero visibility.
Literally every time I've gotten on a Southwest flight in the last...
They tell you what the visibility is.
No, since 2016... I've been like, even if it gets rocky, I'm like, no worries, because the visibility is great, so I know we're gonna make it through this.
It's visibility only matters if you're. So there's two pilot.
Dude, I've been on planes where it's literally rocking so much that there's like a woman screaming, and I'm like, this dumb bitch. She doesn't even know that the visibility is. We're totally fine.
No, there's two ways to fly. There's like you can be like a It's like VF. I don't know the exact term. I used to know them, but it was like VFR versus IFR, and it's like visual flight rating versus like instrument flight rating. And when you're flying an actual airplane, there's zero need for any visibility. It's all instruments.
Oh, so I've got nothing to worry about.
Yeah, no, you're good. Even if there's no visibility, you're laughing.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I watched Mike, there was this big snowstorm that came through Buffalo yesterday, and I watched an airplane land, like
take off and fly
100 feet from my face. All I could do was hear it. Couldn't see it at all.
Trying to figure out which one you might be on and why you don't know.
No, you can't fly through smoke. You just can't fly through tornadoes and thunderstorms.
Yeah. Challenge accepted, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I say so.
No. We're still flying. I mean, I haven't gone anywhere. I'm not there in person. But I've seen pictures that people have posted on like Reddit of the view from above, and it's apocalyptic. It's wild.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of those too, and that was when it really kind of like hit. I was like, oh, this is, it is different when. Because it's obviously heartbreaking when people are taking videos surrounded by the ashes of their house. It's very like personal and intense, but seeing like the actual scope of the disaster, and then you realize how many people are going through that same thing. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
I'm one way.
Everyone out here knows at least one person who, has been displaced by this. So.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's just,
Anyways,
I know it's
Yeah,
just
don't get
it's
depressing
so.
on
I'm
me.
not trying to get depressing, but it's like it's so cold here. Like, which way do you go? Like, which one would you rather?
I mean,
have?
cold 100. I'd rather my house be cold than on
Yeah,
fire
than not.
100% of the time. That is
Yeah, it's
not
100.
a-
That's true.
Yeah, not a good
No,
comparison.
I'm just wondering, because like, let's say if Los Angeles keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and there's just more fires like this, like every year, every couple of years, then, where are all those people gonna go? What I really mean by that is like, where's like the film and entertainment industry gonna go? Atlanta? I mean, they've already pretty
well, I
much
was gonna
set up
say
shop there.
it's already.
But
Yeah, there's a lot of places that it's gone, but yeah, I don't know, man. We decided to build a town in what was a desert 100 years ago, so it's not made to handle anything but droughts. And so when you bring in a bunch of vegetation and stuff, it's going to catch fire. You're not going to be able to keep water, and as despite some of the stories going on out there, the management around this has been, I think, impressive in a lot of ways. Given that, like, people are like, oh, there's no, where are the fire trucks when you see a full neighborhood engulfed? And it's like, that it takes like 3 trucks to put out one house. When the neighborhood's gone and the winds are 100 miles an hour, like, what are we gonna? That's pissing in the wind. Like, nothing's gonna happen.
I haven't seen that stance, but I like it. Where are the fire trucks?
where are the fire
That's
trucks?
funny.
Dude,
Yeah.
I know we need to get off this.
Yeah,
but
we
like,
do.
Dude, I've heard,
Well, today's versus is blizzards versus wildfires.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to get into it.
Yeah.
that sounds like
Heat
two
Miser
minor league
versus
hockey
Snow
teams.
Miser, yeah.
Damn,
Heat
not
Miser
bad.
versus
Not
Snow
bad.
Miser,
A battle
classic.
of brothers.
Yeah.
Do you think could be a good who would win? Us versus Heat Miser and Snow Miser? I think we could beat them. They'd be fighting too much
Yeah, they
amongst
fight
themselves.
amongst each other.
But Mike, I'll give you a proper introduction now. Michael Ornelas, one of my favorite people, I will say, who I met, of course, at the podcast convention in Los Angeles, which was awesome. That's where you live. And the podcast that you have going is called the Fine Dining Podcast, which I got to be a part of for one episode. Some say the most important episode of the show.
It was the linchpin of the entire project.
Yeah. And you have the that tchotchke of mediocrity behind you. Will you just tell Matthew what that is so he knows?
Please do.
Yeah, it's a running tally. It's a scoreboard of all the restaurants I've been to. I'm closing in on my. I just did my 96th restaurant review, so I've got 96 scores up on this tchotchke. I'm looking for the perfect 5.00 out of 10 dining experience, because like every chain restaurant's mediocre. Which one is the most mediocre?
Yep.
Let's get in the weeds. Let's figure it out. So that's what I'm doing, and Perkins had its shot, and it fell short of mediocrity, but it was still a fun time doing it.
Yeah.
So, Mike, I'm glad we're off of the traumatic stories and into this, because it's a fascinating idea to me, and I do want to eventually go back to the origin stories of how you and Andrew met. But first, I want to highlight the show because I consider myself a huge fan of chain restaurants. I love chain restaurants.
How much money would you say you spent on the 2 for $20? Do you think you're in like the top 10 of 2 for $20
top for
Applebee's users of all time?
So when we were growing up, Mike, backstory there, and I was playing hockey.
He knows what 2
we
for
would
20
do.
is.
I know, but we would do.
He
We called it
invented
a Tuesday crew, and all of us would go from practice on Tuesday straight to Applebee's, and we would just pair off and run through 2 for $20s, add a brownie bite with the ice cream for $1.49 at the time. So I ate Applebee's every Tuesday, 7 months of the year for almost 4 full years. And, everything from a tender basket all the way to a 3-cheese chicken penne. I've had it all at Applebee's. But my favorite chain restaurant is actually Chili's.
You've done that on the show, haven't you, Mike?
I have not done Chili's yet. I'm going there next month. I think the episode will come out in like May or something, but I'm closing in on doing Chili's. My favorite chain, I mean, I won't say it's the highest scoring one, but of the ones I regularly visit, I love an Outback Steakhouse.
Oh, yeah? No, Outback is
I'm
Outback is
on
up there.
record calling I think the bloomin' onion is the perfect appetizer. If anyone wants to fight me on it, they will lose.
No, the bloomin' onion is up there
evidence
as
and data is on my side.
I'm gonna put the bloomin' onion in my top 3 food inventions of all time.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Top
There
3: McGriddle, stuffed crust pizza, bloomin' onion. I'm adding it to the list. I think those are the top 3.
You want to know something crazy?
Mm-hmm.
The guy who invented stuffed crust pizza is the guy who invented the McGriddle. We're
No
talking
way.
we're talking Hall of Fame status. He also founded the Smash Burger chain and Jif peanut butter.
Is he still alive?
I don't know, but he's responsible for so many deaths.
If he's
and he should be
alive,
locked up.
if
You don't
he's-
know his
no,
name,
if
do you?
he's alive, he should run for president because he has my vote right
Oh
there.
my God.
Talk about uniting a country.
Just creating Jif on itself. Jif is my personal favorite peanut butter. Mike, what peanut butters? What like the main peanut butter brands? What do you think? Quick, what do you think?
I grew up on Peter Pan, but honestly, I just kind of go with grew up on. That doesn't mean I had a choice.
Yeah.
That's
And
not
also,
an endorsement.
don't
Andrew.
say-
As
don't
long
sleep
as
on
I'm
Peter
just
Pan.
making sure because I think Peter Pan peanut butter is if you got your top 3 peanut butters, I think it's Jif, Skippy, and Peter Pan, and I would also put them in that order
Yeah.
exactly. And Peter Pan is a huge drop off. I know that Skippy is basically just candy. I don't care. It's still better than Peter Pan.
I'm a generic peanut butter guy because I'm financially
Same.
responsible. But
That's a one thing that I splurge on.
what
is
about
peanut butter? And I
what's
also
your-
eat a lot
all right,
of
What's your stance on the bottles of half jelly, half peanut butter that you squeeze out at the same time?
No.
Passionate.
No. Okay. All right. I know too much shit about food. There's no way you know this. There's a chain called Arctic Circle.
Unfamiliar.
You did it on your show, didn't you? I fucking froze.
We froze.
Uh,
There
Now
it
he's
is.
back.
Nope. We're back. You can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Arctic Circle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I went to Arctic Circle. It's this like place based out of Utah. It's basically a Dairy Queen competitor. They invented fry sauce. The 1 part ketchup, 2 part mayo invention that I guess took the world by storm. Germany has a similar sauce that they serve out of a tube that's just like that. It's like a toothpaste tube that you squeeze, but it's ketchup and mayo together, and it's an abomination.
Yeah, I don't like
I've
that
never
at
had
all.
it, but conceptually it's
Yeah. Squeezable mayo is also on my list. There's certain things that I'll eat, but not if it's squeezable. Like, they sell squeezable mayo, but I
Yeah.
prefer to knife my own mayo.
I feel like squeezable mayo is more bang for your buck, though.
No, I disagree.
But I
Back
do
to-
think that the mixing of the jelly and peanut butter, I do think that that's lazy. And
It is.
any real red-blooded American,
Back to chain restaurants, though. Chili's being my number 1. I like Outback up there. I also agree the bloomin' onion is up there for appetizers. I think I would put mozzarella sticks in that list because if you're like, should I order mozzarella sticks as an appetizer? Nobody's ever going to say, no, I don't want a mozzarella stick.
I'm gonna say no, baby.
You're not a
Oh.
mozzarella stick guy.
I didn't know. I didn't want to get into this early, but I did want to. But we have to do it, man. So, Mike,
Yeah.
You go ahead, Mike.
Yeah,
Now
sure.
I got to hear it from the
go
source's
ahead, go
mouth.
ahead. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Look, anyone who's listening to this who is like, oh, I want to check out this guy's podcast, I'm about to lose them all. I don't like cheese.
What about
Tell them
okay.
the best part though. What you do on the show.
I don't do it anymore, but yeah, for
Oh.
season 2, I bleeped the word cheese.
Whenever
it was
somebody
not allowed
would
to be
say
spoken.
Oh, that was so great.
Season 3, personal growth. I can allow a dialogue, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna eat it. But I'm not gonna censor other people.
So you're strictly hamburgers?
Strictly hamburgers. I literally do an annual burger competition called Septemburger. That is strictly a hamburger competition. I've got a fucking championship belt for it.
Okay.
That I'm about to pull down. But Yeah, hamburgers only. And I get so many guests that are like, what about cheeseburgers? I was like, that's a different tournament.
I like that, though,
People.
because if you're going to do a hamburger tournament, it has to be hamburger.
Yeah, it's got to be meat-based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So is that
So-
still all chain restaurants you're doing
That's
that
nice.
burger tournament with?
Yes. Outback won the first year, and it was kind of all casual tier restaurants, but they have a bloomin' burger where it's just straight up, let's put bloomin' onion petals and bloomin' sauce
So there's
on a burger. Add some bacon to that. That's doping. That's the equivalent of doping.
So there seems to be a theme with what's gonna tickle your fancy.
But listen,
and it's
man, they're the
bloomin'
best,
onions.
best for the reason. You know what I'm saying? There's a
Anything with a
reason the king
bloomin'
wears the
onion.
crown.
Have you-
And then In-N-Out one year too, which
Okay.
I don't necessarily agree with. I like In-N-Out. I did have a guest on who I think stand it a little bit too hard.
Okay.
For my money, for what was in the bracket, I think Shake Shack should have won. But
Ooh, I do love Shake
love
Shack.
Shake Shack.
Yes, I would agree with you
Yeah.
there. What about like a Red Robin burger? Does that enter the competition?
they're who Outback beat in the first round of the first
Okay.
year.
All right, so they were up there.
Mm-hmm.
Red Robin, yum.
Yeah.
Again, Red Robin, bottomless fries. That's part of
Yeah, but
that's
you know
part of
what?
the lure. But it doesn't. You can't let that affect your
No,
score.
but you know what? I don't know when the last time either of you guys have been to Red Robin, but my buddies just went there a couple weeks ago, and the guy who got there first, he's like, "Well, of course I'm going to get some fries. Start off the bottomless fries, for the table." And he sent a picture of what they looked like. There was like 7 French fries in that basket,
yeah,
and they
but
are
just get another
bottomless.
basket.
Yeah, but you gotta
They're big
you gotta-
fries though. They're they're thick cut.
Yeah, but 7. Just
7?
dump them in a little
Come on.
basket. That's nothing.
no, I agree.
It's because that's what bothers me. Is like, yes, you can order more. I mean, that's the whole point of the bottomless, but you shouldn't have to. Like, what that says to me is that, they're told to put that many fries in the basket for the bottomless fries thing
Yeah.
because they don't want people
Eating
doing
too many
this.
well, probably
And
because
that's
they were
what makes me
wasting a
mad.
lot of fries because their fries are
Who
large.
cares? It's like when we were in high school, my buddies and I used to do what was that thing? The endless appetizers at TGI Fridays.
Yep.
Right? So we'd go, one guy gets the spinach dip, one
Yeah.
guy orders the buffalo things, then we all share them, we go whatever. And every time we'd go, whoever was waiting on us would be like, we're not supposed to let people share or whatever. This is a huge corporation. What the fuck do you care?
Yeah.
Just
I think
let it-
about-
Yeah,
let
steal
go.
from Walmart. Steal
Steal
from
from
Walmart.
Walmart.
It's okay.
Yeah. I think that all the time about Chipotle. Like if I worked at Chipotle, I would be making the fattest bowls anybody's ever seen. This would be
do
3
you guys
meals.
know? Do you guys know about the stuff that was just happening to Chipotle about how their skimping went so viral that people were starting to walk in, record the person making their burrito,
Yeah.
and then they would just leave if it wasn't enough. They wouldn't ask for more. They would just leave so that the food had to go to waste. And then Chipotle very quickly was like, "Okay, fine, we'll give better portions because we're throwing out so much food."
Yeah.
Jesus.
And here's my problem. Like if I'm a pretty big Chipotle advocate. So I have a Chipotle that I go to very frequently when I'm at my office, and I know the employees. So I know who's going to give a good scoop. And there's nothing worse than when you're next in line and you end up with the wrong employee making your bowl. And you get back to the office and you see your buddy eating this bowl that looks like a 9, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like this is a prime bowl, and you're sitting there with like a 4 out of 10, and you're just like, what
Hey.
am I supposed to do with this?
Can I give you a little life hack?
Yes.
Just 4 words that'll help your experience. If you just learn to say, "Oh, hey, you go ahead," you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let the person behind me go.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know too. They're like, not going.
no.
They're fighting you.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
You want Ethan making your bowl? That's a terrible.
I gotta throw out one more Chili's comment though, because
Oh
I
my God.
I listen. I eat Chili's Chili's is crack to me, and I'll tell you what, appetizer and there's no cheese in it. The Southwest egg rolls, fucking fantastic, unbelievable start to your meal. And then my favorite entree does have cheese on it. It's the chicken bacon ranch quesadilla. If you don't want to go quesadilla, there's a lot of other options. Speaking of burgers, they have the like they have sliders. They call them Big Mouth Bites, but I think it's like a play on words because it's like 3 mini cheeseburgers. Also fantastic. Just throwing some stuff out there for you.
I grew up on Chili's. It's the reason I haven't done it for the show yet is because I'm saving it. It's not
Yep.
because I'm like
Okay.
avoiding it.
No, I
It's
like
like a. I think Chili's was my first chain restaurant love. Because there was one that opened just down the street from my parents' house when I was growing up. So I found myself in Chili's often.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, yeah.
And they have
It'll be my 100th restaurant on the show.
they have one of the widest varieties of overall food selection. You can get pretty much anything. I don't think they have bloomin' onions, which might
yet.
knock it down a few points, but they have pretty much everything.
They have the
else.
Awesome Blossom.
Yes, they
They
do
have
have
the
the
Awesome
Awesome Blossom.
Which sucks when you compare them. It's not
To a traditional.
It's just a less seasoned bloomin' onion.
Okay. But it comes with the awesome sauce, though.
So what, man? Damn.
Listen, just
This is something that I was actually incredibly curious, though, about you, Mike, is, you have this great podcast. You travel all over the country to try these different chain restaurants and rate them. What were meals like when you were growing up? Did your parents cook? Did you go out a lot? I mean, you just said you were no stranger to Chili's, but what was it like growing up?
I remember my time at the orphanage fondly. It was a lot of gruel.
Your parents did live there with you. You just all lived in the orphanage together.
Yeah, yeah. We were like, hey, we need somewhere to stay. You orphan kids, get out of here.
Yeah.
No. My mom would cook. She would tell you she's not a great cook. It was fine. I was a chubby kid who was always like, McDonald's. Can we go to McDonald's? Mom, after school today, can we hit up McDonald's? And probably 6 years of my life were devoted to very regular McDonald's visits. And then, yeah, somewhere along the line, Chili's and Outback came along. I was never really an Applebee's guy. I've only been to Applebee's maybe 4 or 5 times in my life. I have done it for the show for a while. It was the most mediocre of all the places. It was a 5.02
Damn.
out of 10. But fast food was always something that I loved and still do. But given that, at least as it pertains to fine dining, I'm not just rating the food. I'm rating what's it like to eat there. Is the service team cool? Do they have some sort of gimmick? Is the decor nice to be around? Is it clean? So a lot of the fast food restaurants are on the lower end, despite me finding them delicious. But yeah, I mean, cooking is still a relatively not new thing to me, but I'm definitely experimenting more with cooking now. And my dad is kind of the cook of the family. So when I go home for holidays, my dad will cook like homemade flautas or flatbread pizzas or ribs. He's been getting into like bread and stuff like that lately.
Oh, making his own bread?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's taking the world
I had
by
an
storm.
amazing focaccia over the holidays
That your dad made?
that my dad made from scratch.
That's I don't know if you're how familiar you are with focaccia, Manny, but that's
familiar.
an impressive bread. Speaking of your dad, he was on a very famous episode of your podcast, the wonderful Shoney's episode. Is that the only time he's been on?
I want to say no.
Yeah, I feel like
Maybe it is.
okay.
No. I did a Patreon episode with him. We went to Steak and Shake last March.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah.
But when you have your dad on the podcast with you, especially when you guys are doing the part where you're actually sitting at the restaurant, you're not recording anything, you're just like sitting there with each other. I know from going to Perkins with you for the episode that you let me come on for, you're there taking your notes and everything like that. Is it different doing that with your dad than it is doing it with one of your regular guests?
I mean, he lets me know how disappointed he is that this is what I'm doing. He's like, no, going out to eat with my dad is a wild experience because as he's gotten older, he's really lost. I don't even want to say a filter. He's lost any sense of being polite. It's kind of crazy the amount of apologizing I do to workers on his behalf.
Oh my God.
It's unreal. Like, not an episode that he was on, but for an episode he came with to just eat the meal with me. This place called Cheddar's, and our waiter did like a check-in, and he was kind of intense up front. So the waiter was, I don't want to say avoiding us, but they were coming by sparingly. And my dad just like stopped a different waiter and was like, "Do we even have a waiter?"
Oh.
Like, just 0 to 100 in no time. They didn't even know he was upset, nor did I. To which I jump into like, "Holy shit, Dad! Like, stop it! Like, you are in a society."
When I have a bunch of questions that stem off that, but it started with, Andy kind of pointed out that you have your notepad and you're taking notes. So when you are sitting down at a restaurant, are you, I guess, two parts to this. Is there any like questions that comes from the staff, like, "Hey, what are you taking notes on?" Or are you transparent, like, "Hey, I'm going to be, I'm coming here because I have a podcast that rates restaurants," or, and because of that, is there any different treatment that you receive, or how does that work?
Oh yeah, they rolled out the red carpet for us at Perkins. It was stained
Oh,
with
yeah.
stained with diabetic blood.
Advertising Dr. Pepper and giving Mr. Pibb. That was the weird. A tangent at Perkins. They literally had a trifold on the table that said, "We now have Dr. Pepper." I asked for it, and they were like, "Is Pibb okay?" Are you fucking kidding me?
That was crazy. I mean, we went to Perkins growing up so much as kids. That's why I had to come on for that episode, and I was so disappointed with that whole. I mean, obviously it's been years, and
did they have a big flag?
No, I don't remember the old one having a big
Perkins
flag.
always used to have.
But
big
this was
flags.
different. But yeah, there was some wild stuff at that Staten Island Perkins.
Yeah. So Outback was the first episode. I had just bought that notepad that we were talking about, and we sit down at the table, and we're taking notes, and we did get noticed by both our server and then a manager that we were reviewing the place. So we thought, "Oh, this will set the tone for the whole podcast. I'm always going to be noticed." Literally never again since the first episode.
Yeah.
But we had a waiter that was kind of I don't want to say shitty, but not that attentive. Forgot a few things. And the manager comes by after noticing that I'm taking notes, and he's like, "Oh, is everything all right? Is there anything I can bring you?" And I was like, "Yeah, they brought us the bread and the bloomin' onion, but we don't even have bread plates. Could we get that?" And the manager's like, he starts to panic, and he's like, yeah, right away." And I shit you not, he turns around, and almost like you would see in like a cartoon, he kind of like hits himself in the head and goes, "Stupid." I was like, this is not real. And then we never saw that waiter again. We got a new waiter named Keith, who was the shit. He was the best waiter like I've had. He was like their A player. So this manager, like, we don't get bread plates, and we're taking notes, and at the top of the thing it says Outback Steakhouse on the notepad, and he's like, "Oh God, we're getting a bad review. Quick, bring in Keith." And
Keith wasn't even on that day. He wasn't on the
they
schedule.
called him
He
in.
called in Keith. Keith, we're getting.
he drove 45 minutes in traffic.
And he knew he would
Yeah.
because Keith's a winner.
Yeah.
Keith's a starter.
Keith's running that place now.
Yep.
That manager got
and
fired.
then any restaurant that I know is going to be way better than mediocre and won't even be in the running for the perfect 5.00 out of 10, I'll tell them I'm reviewing them because I want the best that they have to bring. There's a steakhouse called Mastro's that's super nice. It's like you're spending hundreds of dollars on your meal type of place. There's no way I'm going to go there and like play it cool. I'm like, "You're being reviewed," and we got like the best they had to offer.
Wow.
Live it up when you can. And then the only other time, Rainforest Cafe, they were like, "Oh, we're not taking walk-ins," and I'm like, "We're here to review it," and they're like, "We'll see what we can do," and they gave us a table because it was like a 90-minute drive to get there. If we had to turn around, I would have been devastated.
How did the Rainforest Cafe make out? Was it a true Rainforest Cafe? Was there a thunderstorm while you were there?
there was a thunderstorm. There was a team of people coming around to tables doing like balloon animals.
Nice.
It was legit. It scored an 8.57 out of 10.
Holy shit.
I don't agree with that score. It was like episode 11, I think. My old co-host had it in like the nines. I had it a bit lower, and then I was like, I felt peer pressured to go higher, so I did, and kind of put our thumbs on the scales a little bit, and it eats at my conscience every day. I'll never do it again.
Well, that's the biggest thing. I say this to Andrew all the time. You got to have integrity.
And
right?
I do, and you'll see that
No,
when we come
he
to the
doesn't.
segment.
But
That's God,
We're waiting to see it. We're waiting.
I love Rainforest Cafe.
dude, I was about to say the
8.3
same
is
thing.
Like I've
I
never
couldn't remember
on my best day.
I couldn't
never.
tell you a single meal that I've ever had at Rainforest Cafe.
I remember one.
But I remember growing up thinking Rainforest Cafe was like, I had in my mind Rainforest Cafe was on the level of the steakhouse that you were just talking about. Like I thought Rainforest Cafe was like pure class.
Now, if you want the better Rainforest Cafe, they just redid Casa Bonita. The guys from South Park made that episode on it, bought it, refurbished it, basically rebuilt it from the inside out. I got to go there in July. Actually, right after we did Perkins, I literally flew back to Austin and then flew to Denver the next day. And let me tell you, it is maybe my favorite dining experience of my life. The food's okay. The vibes are incredible. It's so fun. It's so self-aware. It's ridiculous. There's so much to discover. Like, if anyone wants to check out an episode of mine that I recommend that doesn't have Andrew on it, go check out the Casa Bonita one.
Yeah, I can't believe you actually got to go there. What's the farthest you've ever traveled to go to a restaurant for the show?
Well, here, Casa Bonita is the farthest I've traveled just to do the show.
Gotcha.
But, I've gone to Hawaii for another reason and then did an episode of the show. New York, even Perkins, that's probably just almost as far as Hawaii from me. So it's like, very similar. If I have other business places, I'll always find a way to do an episode while I'm there.
Right. In Hawaii, what chain did you do?
So there was a chain I wanted to do called Zippy's. That's like almost like a Japanese fusion Hawaiian restaurant that's all over the islands, but there's also one in Vegas. And given that there's one in Vegas, I opted not to do it, and instead, Cheeseburger in Paradise.
Oh, okay. Which is that a straight up Hawaiian place? Wait, is that like a Jimmy Buffett joint?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There used to be a few, and then one of them burned down in the big fire in Lahaina a couple years back. So this, I think, is the last remaining one in Waikiki, looks out at the ocean, and yet still managed to not be great despite incredible views. And yeah.
Is it owned by James Buffet?
Wow. By the estate.
No. So there were some people who opened it based on the song that had nothing to do with him, and then he teamed up with I'm a broken record. Jimmy Buffett teamed up with Outback Steakhouse.
Oh my God, dude! You're a plant.
to make a different Cheeseburger in Paradise chain in the continental U.S. And he basically did like a Heisenberg, like stay off my turf and you won't have trouble kind of deal to the people in Hawaii. And then they did expand. And so they got into like this intense legal battle. And they never ended up changing the name. So I like it. It is
they
what
kind
it
of
is.
like all they had to do was kind of wait him out.
Yeah.
So I guess nobody's
he
coming
is
for
still
him now.
alive, as it's well documented. All right, I've got another question about one more restaurant for you that I don't know if you've reviewed, but then I have some questions about restaurants you have reviewed. So my question for the restaurant in which I don't know is, have you ever done a Dick's Last Resort style restaurant?
Yeah. Dick's Last Resort was last month's Patreon release for me.
There we go.
I drove to Las Vegas.
And what was your experience? Without giving us too much detail.
They put a hat on my head that says I touch myself to Duck Dynasty. A DJ came down and pressed my face up against his gigantic belly, and then revealed he was wearing a giant thong. The waiter was the perfect balance between rude and helpful. The food's not great. If the food was better, I'd probably go there more. Like, the experience was fun. It
Yep.
knows what it was. It was self-aware. It's a good novelty. The food needs work and very overpriced, especially in a place like Vegas.
Yeah. Was it the one that's in what's the MGM hotel?
The
that's right
Excalibur.
there? Yeah, I've been to that Dick's Last Resort.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. They had karaoke there actually too.
Folks, why waste your time with, menial, needless tasks, all right, like going to the grocery store? All right, you're busy. You got a lot of stuff on your plate, okay? You shouldn't have to worry about roaming around these aisles, wondering where everything is. The parking lot, God, it's a mess. Nothing worse than when you see, oh my God, finally, a free parking space. It's open. I'm going for it. And then you start to pull in, and somebody left their fucking shopping cart there. Who are these people? Wouldn't you rather never have to think about those people again? Well, the good news is you can do that when you use Instacart, because with Instacart you can get not just groceries, but some of your favorite products from some of your favorite local stores delivered right to your front door in as little as 1 hour. What a great deal, but it gets even better because right now, Two in the Cooler listeners get free delivery on their first order of $10 or more. All you have to do is spend $10. Instacart will deliver whatever it is you're looking for right to your front door, okay? $10, that's what, like 2 boxes of Cheerios or something, and then you get free delivery. So whatever you're ordering, you're getting that free delivery. All you got to do to get that deal is hit the link in this episode description. Shop smarter. I feel like that's already somebody else's slogan, but I'm using it here, and you should be using Instacart today. Folks, the holidays have passed. You've been working so hard for everybody else. Why not do something nice for yourself for a change? All right, get yourself a little treat, something that's going to make you look good, make you feel good. And there's no better place to procure such items than over at snackspot.se/creator/teespring.com. T-shirts, bucket hats, hoodies, long sleeves, slides, pint glasses, mugs, notebooks, all kinds of great stuff. You can check that all out. Hit the link in this episode description, okay? And this is top quality also, by the way. This is not like cheap stuff that, normally when you listen to like a podcast or something, it's like, I will order something to support them, but I'm never actually going to wear it because you get it and it's that Gildan brand and it's cheap and it's disgusting and it fits like a cardboard box, but not us, baby, okay? The t-shirt specifically, tri-blend material. Whatever, no big deal. Trust me, you're going to want to check it out. Again, at snackspot.se/creator/teespring.com. And if you're interested in advertising on this show, you can email us at snackspotsports@gmail.com for details on how you can start reaching thousands of listeners in the Buffalo area and beyond. Podcast advertising has carved out this piece for itself. Well, let me put it like this. It's now TV advertising, podcast advertising, newspaper advertising, or whatever the third option might be, bus bench ads, I don't know. But podcasting is now a legitimate source for advertisement as far as companies like McDonald's and State Farm and NASCAR. It's kind of crazy. It's really cool to see, brands of that size moving away from the more traditional media like TV and whatever else I just mentioned. But the problem is there hasn't really been any space for smaller or even local businesses to get in on that action. But that's what we're here for. That's what we're all about. So again, if you're interested in learning more about all the benefits of podcast advertising, reach out to us at snackspotsports@gmail.com.
So then, talking about stuff that you have reviewed, and again, without giving too much detail away, we want people to go check it out. But can you give me a synopsis, I guess, of, what's the, maybe not the worst, but the second worst or towards the bottom of your list, and then what in terms of True Trained Restaurants has that highest score in your mind, even if it's maybe not the highest score on the board.
All right, I'll say this: I'm working right now to try and fill out the low end of the scoreboard, so I'm doing a bunch of places that I think suck. That doesn't necessarily.
Let's see.
I went to Taco Bell yesterday, and even though that episode won't come out for a couple of like a month or so, month and a half, It did score a little higher than I expected. I went to Subway. Subway sucks. I think White Castle is absolute trash.
Yeah.
And if either of you have anything good to say about White Castle, I will hang up.
I don't think I've ever actually had White Castle, but it seems really bad.
I've only had like the you can buy like the frozen White Castle sliders. That's the only White Castle I've ever had, I think.
But Subway, I like Subway.
Subway just feels
I'm a company man.
Fake.
You know, Andrew used to work at Subway. Did you know that, Mike?
I did used to work at Subway. I'm a retired sandwich artist.
Without knowing that, I did know that.
Yeah,
my intuition knew that.
Yep.
This guy's had his hand on some footlongs. Okay, what?
No, in that you look like you lost some weight after walking for a while.
Nothing to do with the
with his Subway work. Only the stuff outside of his Subway work. That's all we have in common.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get back to the real notes here. One of the things when we went to Perkins that I did not expect you to be upset by was the pancake situation. You were a little critical of the way that I approach a pancake. Matthew approaches pancakes the same way. I think we even talked about it before. But honestly, today, God, there's so many levels to this because the episode of your show that came out today was McDonald's breakfast, and I had McDonald's pancakes for breakfast today before I went on YouTube and saw that. And I did them the way that I ate them the way that, I think you're supposed to eat them, where you cut the pancakes completely, you cut up your whole plate of pancakes, syrup it up, as opposed to whatever it's like the futile, some kind of like peasant way of indentured servant cutting like a piece off at a time.
Look, when you cut food into smaller pieces, it holds heat for less time. So if you cut it all up at the beginning, you're letting all the heat out. Whereas if you let it stay one volume of pancake and you only cut off the bits that you're biting as you bite it, it will stay warmer longer.
Not an issue because I eat them so fast.
Well, that was gonna be my thing with pancakes. Is like, I'll tell you what, I'm a pancake fanatic.
And
I'm talking. I was on my way home from Home Depot on this past Monday. So we're recording on Wednesday here.
Nothing
so
gets you hungry
on my
for
way
pancakes
home
like
from Home Depot, and I'm like, dude, and it was like 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, I want pancakes so fucking bad. I actually got off the highway and took an alternate route back to my house to drive past this little Greek restaurant that does all-day breakfast because they have fantastic chocolate chip pancakes. And I was prepared to go in there and sit alone amongst the other old men probably that are there, and I was going to indulge in some pancakes. They're closed. I don't know if they were closed for Martin Luther King Day or if they were closed just they're always closed on Mondays.
Probably.
I don't know if they were celebrating
Greek
the King
restaurants usually are very,
So
really
I was
okay.
forced with an with a decision. Like, I've already craved pancakes. I don't want to go home. I make okay pancakes. They're not as good as restaurant pancakes, but it's also very messy. So I ended up door dashing IHOP to my house at like 4 p.m.
No.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And I'll tell you what.
IHOP delivery.
Even though my pancakes were pretty chilly, they were still fucking delicious. Here's my problem with if you don't cut the pancakes, how do you get that proper saturation of syrup?
Exactly, because we're syrup people.
Okay.
Last name's
So here's
Canada.
the thing.
I'm doing your work for you.
Pancakes, you're usually not eating them just one. You have a stack.
Yep.
Yeah.
Syrup in between the stack and then put it back on. Soaks up from the bottom on the top one, soaks down from the top on the bottom one.
I don't think there's enough. See, I understand what you're saying there, but let me throw two flaws in your plan there. One, when you cut the pancakes, you still have more surface area, so you're automatic, and you're getting the airy, fluffy, or even I like a dense pancake. You're getting it all inside the nooks and crevices. Two, if you're picking up your pancake and you're removing it from the stack, even just for a short time, guess what? You're losing heat right there. So your argument starts to hold less weight because you're losing heat from your cakes while you're putting syrup on the inside.
It's half a second, and I'm still keeping one large body, still keeping one volume of pancake.
it just doesn't. I hear what you're saying, and I think the math does check out, but I just really don't like. I just don't like it. You gotta chop
Look,
it all up because you know what? I think it's because Matthew and I were raised that you don't enjoy life until the work is done. And the work of the pancake is you gotta chop up that pancake.
I agree
it's
with
like,
that,
It's like
too.
lumberjack style. You gotta chop down all the trees before you can start enjoying the warmth of the cabin. You know what I'm saying, brother? God, I fucking nailed that analogy. Didn't know where I was going, landed that plane. I don't give a shit what the visibility is. And I did it, whatever the fuck that's called. A callback? My God. You're welcome.
Look, Andrew, if you're building a cabin, you don't want just a pile of logs. You want to strategically place the logs one at a time.
After
so
I've
that
chopped them
you're-
all
you're
up.
taking-
After I've chopped them
No.
all up and put syrup all over them.
No, you don't have anywhere to store that many trees.
I got a place.
You got to build as
I
you
got
go.
it.
So I have a question, Mike. How much syrup are you putting on your pancakes?
Look, I'm pre-diabetic. I'm not trying to die out.
I was
here,
gonna say,
okay?
I would
So
be
you
surprised
go
if we didn't put any syrup
slightly
on there.
gentle on the syrup.
I go gentler than what I witnessed Andrew
See,
do.
that's my. I am at the point where I'm almost requiring a bowl for my pan. I'm eating it like cereal, and the syrup is the milk, and then I'm drinking the syrup at the end.
Episode
at the
title:
bottom of the
Syrup is
bowl.
the milk.
And then you hibernate for 6 months. Like,
Yep, essentially,
we gotta
honestly,
quick
the
metabolism.
cold climate.
honestly, that's one of my favorite things to do, and I don't get to do it anymore now that like I'm considered in the eyes of the law an adult. But one of my favorite things that I used to do when I was in college was I would have practice in the morning, and then I would eat a fuck ton of pancakes, and then I would sleep for like 6 hours,
Jesus.
and it was the best. Like if you eat like a full stack of pancakes, chocolate chips loaded down with syrup, I mean, you'll take the best nap of your life after that.
Yeah, I mean, that's called high blood sugar. Like, that's what that is. When the black creeps around the edges of your vision, and you're like, why can't I see anymore?
Yeah, I thought that was a good thing. I
Not
just
voluntary.
thought that was something cool we did on the weekends.
Yeah.
But no, I guess not.
We work for 1/2 hour, 2/2 hour.
Oh man. There's more I want to talk to you about, Mike, obviously. Which way to go? Okay, you know what? Let's keep the intensity going. Mike, one of the things that I really appreciate about you is that you are a segment machine. You come up with ideas for segments, boom, like so easily. Like people, I mean, that's what it seems like. You know, I know you put a lot of work into it and stuff, but you had the night we met, you told me this idea that you had for a podcast that you still haven't done. And I know I'm the only person who wants it. See, you got so many ideas, you're like, which one could it possibly be? I'll tell you exactly which one it is.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, you do remember? Do you want me to explain it? Or do you want to give, just say, you know,
I'd like
give a
Mike
little
to do it
pitch?
because I already don't like your ideas, and I'd like to see if I'm open to this one.
I kind of want to hear it from Andy because I want to see, one,
right.
your retention rate, but two, can you pitch it to me in a way that re-excites me about the idea to get me to go do it?
Okay, now I feel a little on the spot about it. But I'll give you the presentation. There are three things that people love in America. They love family, they love nostalgia, and they love dinosaurs. I'm going to add a fourth thing to that. That fourth thing is getting angry about politics. What if I told you that you could have a podcast that combined all of those things in one-stop shop? That's four of your. All you need left is water, and you've got every single one of your needs met. Now, Mike's idea that I'm here to talk about today is a Land Before Time podcast that is performed through the lens of an Alex Jones type InfoWars style show. Is that right?
Yeah, and connects the discord in current American politics down to it all began in 1988 when Littlefoot watched his parents die. And we were forced to watch this diverse group of dinosaurs that would never travel together go through a pro-cannabis with tree stars, a pro-evolution, a pro-displaced migrant story narrative pushed on us from Hollywood.
Look, I
to
can't
try
speak
and
for everybody.
normalize these things that are against American values, which again I say ironically because I am not an Alex Jones type, but connecting those dots in the way a conspiracy theorist would. I'll tell you this, Andrew. I did sit down with a buddy of mine, and we did watch the first 4 movies and take notes.
That sounds kind of brutal. How long did that take you? 30 minutes?
Give or take. Yeah. No, it's they're about 75 minutes each, but there's 14 movies.
Holy shit.
Land Before Time?
Dude, they kept them going even after we were aged out. Is the 4th one the one where they like adopt the baby T-Rex? Did you watch that one?
The second one. That's the second one, and then the 5th one. Chomper reprises in the 5th installment.
Really? I gotta watch that again. Return of Chomper.
If you asked me how many Land Before Time movies there was, you want to know what my answer would have been?
One.
One.
No way, dude. That was a well. They were like, there's too much gold in this mine to not keep digging.
But now I'm all
It was
in.
the king of direct to VHS.
It truly was.
Did we had maybe we only had one.
We had at least 2 of them.
I
Because I know
thought
we had the first one.
I probably thought they were the same movie. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Mike, one thing you'll learn about me pretty quick is I don't retain information like most.
But he'll never forget
I
that.
don't either. I'm shocked I've been able to throw out any of the trivia I have been, and it's only because it's recent.
I just want to know. I mean, I'm sitting there just on Monday watching TV thinking to myself, what would Spike say about Trump's inauguration? Spike is one of the Land Before Time characters.
I did know
I don't
that,
if you
yeah.
put that together. Like, what would he have to say?
Yeah.
And I don't think he speaks in those
mean,
movies, so this would be the first time we hear his voice.
I think he would just Sieg Heil with his tail.
Dude, don't put Spike as a Nazi. You know what? Never mind. I could see it. Spike might be the most Nazi of them all now that we're talking about it.
He had some extreme views.
Petrie is... I can't believe I remember that guy's name. He's an incel. That guy is definitely an incel. Big Elon Musk guy, big like Doge coin guy. We might be the only 2 people on the planet, Mike, who have any idea what we're talking about right now. But that's worth it to me because I know that we're so right in what we're saying.
Can I bring down the mood for a second?
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. I was just researching
the
invention.
child. The child actress who played Ducky was, I think, murdered by her dad.
Yeah.
That'll happen though.
That will happen.
Yeah, that's the one thing you gotta know about.
That's the one
being
thing
a
you gotta
child
look out
actor.
for. You know, sometimes your dad comes in your room, knock, knock, bang, bang. You know what I'm saying? That's just one of those things around here. I hate to say it, but it does happen.
Yeah, the life expectancy of a child is not
life
always
expectancy of a
adulthood.
child.
Well, that's the thing. Child actors back then,
They were getting
were
shot
in a
all the
bad
time.
place.
Jonathan
Child
Taylor
actors-
Thomas, that kid's full of bullet holes.
child actors in the past 10 to 15 years, they've had it much better. They're not getting shot.
I don't
You ever see
this callous.
you ever see DJ from Full House drink a glass of water? It's just like pss, pss, pss. I mean, she hits like a sprinkler because you know Uncle Joey's carrying his piece all the time. You date Alanis Morissette, that's what
So
you
gotta
have
be
to do.
careful
You
when
got to
you make
protect
comments
yourself.
like that.
You got to protect yourself.
Can I just say, cut it out.
Damn. I was just thinking today about when catchphrases were like such an important part of television.
Thing.
They were like, I mean, that was
Yeah.
huge. Like you had to write catchphrases into shows, and we just don't have that anymore. Can you imagine writing a Full House script and being like, okay, well, where's the part? We got to put a part in here where, Michelle says, "You got it, dude." Like that there has to be a scene.
We're doing a 2 in the cooler sitcom. What's your catchphrase?
Oh God, probably. I mean, I know what Matthew's is. Matthew would be like D's nuts.
No, it wouldn't be.
Yeah, well, you always say stuff like that.
Well, that's because yeah.
Matthew would like float into a room Bugs Bunny style and go, "I smell cakes."
Something like that. Yeah, dude. If I could have if my whole life could revolve around pancakes, I'd sign up for it in a heartbeat. They're one of those food. There's a few foods I think I could live off of forever. Burritos. I could eat just burritos for the rest of my life. Although I will.
Such a diverse food, though.
That's
not
thing.
really saying anything.
Like I'll classify.
There's so much variability in a burrito.
I'll
it's gotta be
I'll
one
take a
thing.
stand and I'll classify a wrap as a burrito.
That's not a stand. That's giving you more leeway.
No, I know, but it's a burrito. Like if I'm making a chicken Caesar
No.
wrap.
But here's the thing: a pita is not a tortilla. So no, I reject your notion.
But what if you're But I'll make a chicken Caesar wrap at home on the same 12-inch tortilla that I'm going and making a burrito on the next night.
Pita gordita.
Sure, that's a burrito.
Pita gordita. Boy, I'm glad to meet you. Taco burrito. What's that in your Speedo? What are you gonna do with that?
I have no idea what I'm gonna. That should be your catchphrase.
I gotta know. Are you quoting something, or do you have like the gift? Are you like a simple mind?
Pita gordita, boy, I'm glad to meet you. That I just came up with right now, so that I could segue into taco burrito. What's that in your Speedo? Which I feel like circa 2006 was floating around. I heard a lot of people say that, but I honestly think that whatever the one I said before, which I've already forgotten, I know the word gordita was in it, but I do not recall exactly what I said, Senator. I think that one's more impressive than the other one.
Pita gordita.
Pita gordita, boy, I'm glad to meet you. Yeah, we did find the catchphrase.
You have to say it quick in order to make it fit, though, which is what I don't like.
Because that's kind of what, I'm sort of like the Eminem of rhyming, of lyrics.
That would be Eminem.
No, that's what I'm
Eminem
saying.
is the Eminem of
what I'm saying is that I'm like the Eminem of lyrics and like rhyming, putting things together like that.
But what we're saying is that would just be Eminem.
Right. Well, that's Eminem. But what I'm saying is I'm the Eminem version of like lyrics and rhyming things and like putting things together.
Andrew.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask you, Mike. No, the other thing I wanted to bring up. Kind of going into this, dude. I swear to God, I had this thought like a couple days ago, and I was like, I'm gonna bring this up on the podcast, and then I remembered, of course, that like, oh, Mike's the guest this week. This is perfect. I think that we're gonna start a trend here because I feel like you guys are gonna be on board with this. I think I'm gonna have my, people are always like, what would your last meal be? If you're on death row, you get a last meal. What's your last meal? I'm gonna do my last meal in like 2 weeks or something like that, because the last meal
what do
is
you mean
something.
You're doing it?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I am okay. But what I'm saying is like, if you're not in prison and you fantasize about like this last meal thing, you're like, oh boy, what my last meal would be is like fried chicken and lobster tails and like all this stuff. But the guys on death row, they have the benefit of dying young, so they get their last meal, and if they can order all this stuff, whatever they want. We're out in the streets. We're free men. Why should we not be able to enjoy our last meal? Here's the problem: if you're a regular guy like us and you're gonna live to like, well, if you're Matthew and I, probably like 78. If you're Mike, maybe like 42. But if you're if you're living like a little
generous,
if you're living like a little older, by the time you get to that age, like so many people, and this is kind of are lucky enough to like die in a hospital bed. And when you're at that stage of your life, you can't be like, give me Popeyes. You know what I mean?
You could.
No, but you can't even really enjoy it the same. Your taste buds are different. You got like crazy heartburn and stuff. Maybe you
got cold in the DoorDash.
Yeah, exactly. All these things. We need we need to basically do like a food bar mitzvah.
So,
but it's like our last meal.
Can I reform
I don't
your
know.
idea?
I don't know if I'm done.
Idea.
I don't know if I'm done doing a bad job explaining
I'm
this. So
reforming
maybe
your
let me.
idea.
Maybe let me
Can I
finish
reform
here.
it? All right.
Maybe let me finish here. So what I'm gonna do is probably in the next. I know I said a couple weeks, but more likely in the next year or so, before I'm 30, I'm gonna have a last meal, where I'm gonna get everything that I would want for a last meal, and I'm gonna eat it while it won't like totally destroy my body.
Well,
and it'll be Andrew Cana's last meal.
Here's
and we're
what
gonna
I'll
do
say
it on the
about
podcast.
That. Two things. One, the point of a last meal is that it's okay if it destroys your body. I think you're missing that.
Would you agree with that, Mike?
Well, it's not.
I'm curious though, because that's a good point. So I want to know if that's like if everybody's
you're about
agreeing
to
with
die,
that.
you can eat whatever you want.
But
Like, would I agree that this is a good idea? What am I agreeing
No,
with?
with Matthew's statement. What did you say?
I said like the point of a last meal is it doesn't matter what it is because you're going to die
gonna
anyway,
'cause
so
you're
it
gonna
can
be
destroy
killed
your
by the
body.
steak.
So you saying like, oh, heartburn, oh, you're not like it doesn't matter. You're going to die. That's the point of a last meal. Here's what I think. Here's the idea that I'm trying to reform for you. Is that I think what you should do. And this, you could make this you could probably sell this. Like, you could probably go on Instagram and, like, pretend to be, like, a motivational speaker and, like, sell this idea. Like, I wrote a book about this idea. What you should do is, like, every 5 years, like, on big days, like 25, 30, 35, 40, you know what I mean? That's when you should do a last meal because you can kind of look at
last meals.
You can look at it like symbolically in a few ways. Like, hey, this is my last meal from like
that's something
me as like a 25. This is my last meal as me as like a 30-year-old.
I like the. I don't. I. That's a cool idea.
To your point,
but
you'll
it's not
have
what
different.
I want.
But it's a better idea than what you had because your idea.
It depends
is
on
stupid.
what. It depends on what. No, it's not stupid. My idea is
it
not
was
stupid.
though because
you
can't. It's not a last meal. Okay, here,
but it's what your last meal would be, and you get to enjoy it while you're still
but are you ever
able to enjoy it.
Okay, so everything that you eat in your last meal, then are you ever going to have those foods
This
again?
is the problem with doing Zoom things is it's just now Mike just has to watch us yell at each other, and I
you
feel
have
a
dumb
little bad
ideas.
about that.
Mike,
it's not a dumb idea.
Okay.
Oh no, I've got opinions.
Let's hear them.
I get to eat my last meal every time I go to Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah, that blooming onion, baby.
I'm serious though. I think you should have, like, I don't know. I know.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think there is a validity to treating yourself to a meal comprised of your favorite things. I agree with Matthew in that there's no reason not to do it occasionally as opposed to once.
Yeah. What's the
there
point
is
of doing
there
it
is
once?
there is a reason to doing
What?
it once. The finality. I like the finality of it.
But that's what I'm saying.
But you're
you
not
get to look
actually
back-
dying.
Exactly. And if you like the
But it's
finality
still
of
like-
it,
that's
are you
still
gonna
my
eat
last
those foods
meal.
again throughout the rest of your life?
Yes, but
Then-
so my last meal, what I'm thinking for my last meal, and this is what I would get if they ever find the bodies and I get locked up. This is what I'll order is Popeye's
Which,
chicken.
by the way, I know you mean because of the way you cut up pancakes. I can tell there are bodies. you have disposed
But boy, oh
of
boy,
things
they're all
before.
over the place though. Shucks, where was I? Oh yeah, so my last meal, and this was I want Popeye's spicy chicken. I want I'll probably get like a Chick-fil-A spicy sandwich, but I want the Chick-fil-A sauce so I can dip the Popeye's tenders in the Chick-fil-A sauce, and then probably something from like Red Lobster, and then obviously hot dogs is going to be in my last meal. Yeah, cheesy biscuit type thing. So like that's I don't remember what my point it was. Oh, but here's my point. That's a lot of fucking food, and I don't want to treat myself to that kind of meal. Honestly, ever again. I only ever want to treat myself to like that crazy mashup of all these different things one time, and that
think
for me
you
is
are-
like more enjoyable.
You're assuming that you have to come at this like a food challenge where it's like I have to clean the plate. I think a last meal is about getting all these tastes that you want in one place. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily about finishing them.
Yeah.
No, true. Absolutely. But I still I know that if I waited to have like my last meal the way that I really want to have it, I'll feel like complete shit afterwards. And I know that again, if you're actually dying or if you're actually going to be executed by the state. That doesn't matter as much because, you're going to be out of your body pretty soon anyways. But
in this proposal, you aren't dying, so you're going to feel that regardless.
No, but not as much right now. But not as much as when I'm like 60.
Here's what my last meal would be: T-bone steak, bone in.
Nice.
Take the bone out.
Why did
shave
I start
it
with
down?
Fucking Popeyes?
Shave it down
because I love it.
Stab somebody, and then I'm in like what's that movie with Gerard Butler? I talk about it all the time. I can never.
Oh, you just mentioned it last week where he's in prison.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, so I don't remember what it's called.
Mike, got any ideas?
Mike, how many Gerard Butler movies can you name?
And Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, yep.
Emily.
Is it the one with Ice Cube's son?
It is the one with Ice Cube's son.
No,
it's
that's
not.
a different movie.
Okay, that's insane.
Okay, so last meal goes without saying. Yeah, bloomin' onions in there. We can breeze past that.
Yeah.
There's a fast food burger place in Austin, Texas, where I grew up called Dan's Hamburgers. They are absolutely my favorite burger. They will be a part of my last meal. I will also be getting some Texas barbecue, probably some brisket from La Barbecue, as well as the peach tea glazed pork belly from Interstellar Barbecue.
Holy
Both
shit.
places just awarded Michelin stars. I will get a scoop of peanut butter brownie honeycomb ice cream from Van Leeuwen Ice Cream. I will get a slice of pizza from Joe's in New York City.
Yep.
I will get, you know what? I'll throw a Popeye spicy chicken sandwich in there. There's a burger chain out here called Islands. They've got my favorite fries. So give me the fries from Islands. I don't know what else can kill me. Yeah, I think that's a pretty complete meal.
That's pretty great.
That's great. Also, the movie Law Abiding Citizen, but I like the sound of that meal.
See, I'm not worried about. I didn't bring this up to be like, what would your last meal be? I'm talking about. I think you should have your last meal when you're young.
Okay, I guess this is my point, and this is the last thing I'm going to say on this argument.
The term "last meal" is in name only.
Mike, I can't.
But we
get a
still
word
know
out
what it.
over here.
Sorry, I'm just trying to really. I'm right about this.
You're trying to force your way of life on
No,
us.
because
Yeah,
your point
I am.
of thinking about it though is that like things are going to change, which means that if you have your last
gonna
meal
come.
this year, then when you turn 40, you're going to want a different last meal, and that's why
Yeah,
I'm saying
yeah.
that you should have every 5 years or whatever a last meal. You could even make it every 10 years, but you're going to want to have multiple last meals. Mine would obviously be
Andrew-
full stack of chocolate chip pancakes.
Let me pose this to you. The Popeye's spicy chicken sandwich that we love so much. When did that come out?
Word. Just a couple of years ago.
It came out 2019, maybe? You can't blow your load when you don't even know all the foods that will be available that next decade. New culinary innovations are always coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
The McGriddle.
we
That wasn't
just
around
talked
in my
about this.
childhood.
We just talked about
Stuffed
the
crust
McGriddle.
pizza.
We just talked about it. Yeah.
At one point in time, there was no Jiffy peanut butter. What do you think they were eating then for their last
It's not called
meal?
Jiffy. It's called Jif, and it's been around
Same difference.
pretty much since the stars were born.
I would also throw a chicken cutlet sandwich on there.
Yeah,
It'd
for
be
sure.
chicken cutlet, pepper jack cheese, guac, and then like a chipotle avocado.
Like a southwestern cutlet
on
sandwich.
on ciabatta.
Yep, that's the right brand.
Ciabatta is
Yeah.
too chewy of a bread, I think.
Oh, it's crunchy on the top. Oh,
Listen,
I love a ciabatta.
You guys,
Yeah, it's
you
my,
guys know.
Hey, it's my
You
death
guys
meal.
know.
Andy. I can say whatever I want.
okay.
Should we do the who would win of the
We
week?
do have to do the who would win of the week. I guess we'll jump right into it. The who would win of the week this week is the Hamburglar.
Wildfires.
Is wildfires versus
snowstorms.
snowstorms. The who would win of the week this week is the Hamburglar versus the Burger King. Now, the Hamburglar has been seen as a villain since his inception or conception.
Do you know about the Hamburglar's conception?
Not as much as you do, I'm sure.
Please tell.
It was unbelievably, overtly anti-Semitic.
Yeah, the old pictures, because I did see, when you think of the Hamburglar, you probably think of like the mascot.
As
head.
in, wait, can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Oh, as in the Hamburglar
was anti-Semitic.
Oh, so the Hamburglar hated Jewish people.
Well, no. Yeah, the Hamburglar himself was a representative of the
Of
Jewish
Jewish
people.
people. Okay, that was my
in
question.
an anti-Semitic way.
Yeah, okay, that was
They
my
had
question.
this
Was he
crazy
Jewish or was he-
mask
yeah.
originally on him that was like it was basically a Gringotts goblin.
He had a like an overtly big nose.
Yeah.
They were calling him crafty in the first ad that they had him in. And then they redid his design and they're like, you know what? We're going to make his face look like a child now. So you have like an adult. Seriously, like that was intentional to be like, we want a child's face on an adult. I guess that's an adult body. I honestly don't know how to
I would
talk
say
about
so.
the body of the
The
hamburger.
Hamburglar? Oh, the McDonald's swimsuit issue. Just wait till you see that. Fucking Ronald
That
McDonald.
body though.
Ronald McDonald doesn't shave his pubes. I can almost guarantee that. I know that's not what we're talking about.
Not at
But
all.
that guy, Mike, to bring it up again, you just dressed up as Ronald McDonald for the last episode that you did.
You bet your ass I did.
Any thoughts on
I
the pubes?
took any. I prefer trimmed as far
Right,
as
but when you were the
what I
when you were the
imagine
character
Ronald
when you were the character of McDonald of Ronald.
full on Brazilian.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See?
It's definitely one or the other. It's definitely
Because
he's
because
either,
the face paint doesn't stop at the face, and it's so much harder to put paint on hair.
Yeah.
Bet
I
you never
still
thought
think
of
he
it like
grows
that.
it out. I still think he grows it out.
Imagine walking into a waxing place. Yeah, I really need to get an appointment. I'm dressing up as Ronald McDonald this weekend. I need to be.
It's got to be accurate. It has to be accurate.
I need to look like a hairless cat.
But
Yeah.
if we're focusing on this fight, to me, this feels a bit like a Robin Hood situation. The Hamburglar, but you know what? He's probably not stealing from the Burger King to dish out to the people. He's probably stealing from the Burger King just to eat the burgers himself, I assume.
Can I pose a question?
King? Yeah, please.
Is there a chance that the Hamburglar doesn't want to steal from the Burger King because they're not the burgers of his preference?
No, I think that the Hamburglar is like, if it's a burger, I need to get my hands on it. And especially if you have the Burger King, the Hamburglar stealing from the Burger King is like, a great art thief stealing from the Louvre.
But no, it's not, because think about that like early campaign of the debut of the modern Burger King look. What was he doing? He was giving away free burgers. He was showing up outside of people's windows and handing it to them. There's no look, the Hamburglar's in it for the love of the game. He doesn't want an easy burger. He wants a challenge. He wants a heist. He's not getting that with the Burger King, which I think will fuel his rage in this fight.
I like this
That
a lot.
said, the Burger King is an unwavering, stoic sign of psychopathy. I'm not exaggerating when I say that the Burger King is a stone cold killer and he will get through any obstacle in his way. So I think this is a pretty fair, pretty close fight.
But here's my thing with the Burger King though. Isn't his whole thing like have it your way? So he seems very open to like, or no, I shouldn't say open. I should say timid almost to push back. Like, yeah,
I don't know, dude. I mean, I know he's giving out these burgers for free, but it also does seem like those burgers come with a cost, and that cost is loyalty. The Burger King seems like, I'll give you these burgers for free, but don't step out of line.
I'm totally speculating here, but like the whole have it your way saying, I feel like that had to have originated from the fact that McDonald's was so assembly line based that you couldn't order a McDonald's burger without all of the ingredients that come on it. So Burger King's whole thing was then like, have it your way. If you want it without the pickle, order it without the pickle and we'll make it without the pickle. To me, that's the King being a little bit of a bitch. Like, hey, you know what? You're right. Like, you take it the way you want it. I'll throw off what I have to do.
Do you really get that vibe from him though? Because he is so scary. To kind
Very
of
scary looking.
condense what Mike just said.
He sees into your soul. He looks past your eyes. He doesn't notice them. He is consumed with a flame-broiled rage that no one else in the fast food game brings to the table. This king will fucking kill you.
Mike,
Wait,
you're a
so the
genius.
Burger King is the devil, essentially, is what we're breaking it down to. Because he's
Kinda,
almost
kind of.
almost using his have it your way as like a
I
it's like
think
when the
of the
witch
Burger
hands
King.
Snow White the apple, like having
That's
it,
what I
have
thought.
it
That's
your
what
way.
I
Come
think.
to come to
Monkey's
my
claw.
It's a
team.
monkey's
Great call.
claw.
Yeah,
That's what I
Let
think.
me murder you and your family. Come to my
You know,
side.
I see
I
the
like that.
I see the Burger King more as like a really psychotic, like trickster god of some kind. You know what I mean? I do think that this fight is kind of like Osama bin Laden versus like Jeffrey Dahmer. That's not exactly right, but like the
Actually, it is
Hamburglar-
exactly right.
the Hamburglar is like this big kind of he's like a Batman style villain, right? He's
Much
trying
like
to get
Bin Laden.
much,
Yep.
much
Yep.
like Osama. Whereas the Burger
Grew up
King,
rich, all this tech.
his apartment is full of porn.
Yeah.
But the Burger King is like Michael Myers type figure. Like he if you were on the run from the Burger King, he would not have to chase you. He would just quietly walk towards you. Next thing you know, your life is snuffed out. Now
Yeah.
it's a part of the chicken fries. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you'd be
If
sprinting
you've
as
ever
fast
seen-
as you can.
If you've ever seen the movie It Follows, the It is the Burger King.
It is the Burger King. So I'm locking in Burger King. I think enough said right there, baby.
I will say, like, I know I was a little bit anti Burger King at first. I like the my own devil comparison. Of course, I like it because it was my brain. But here's what I will say, and I think Mike touched on it originally when he talked about the Hamburglar's face. Is he does look like a child, and I just assume that anybody like over the age of like 15 that's above 5'7" could just kick the shit out of the Hamburglar.
Interesting.
You would have to
Yeah,
catch him first.
I think there's a few factors here. One, who can look into the eye of the murder Burger King? The question is, does the Hamburglar accept a burger from Burger King? Because I think that'll be the way he goes about it. It's lulling into a false sense of security. If the Hamburglar rejects the burger because he's loyal to McDonald's, he has a chance in this fight. If he accepts it, he's right where the Burger King wants him.
Yeah.
And due to that, I'm going to go Hamburglar because I think he rejects Burger King.
I think he takes it. I think he absolutely takes it. I think he's a burger fiend.
Now I'm torn.
I'm going for it.
I think he rejects the burger. I think that the Burger King has more of a killer instinct, but I think he's more principled. And if the Hamburglar doesn't take his burger, I think it's game over for the Burger King because he never got out the gates.
But do you think that the Hamburglar in not taking the burger would piss the Burger King off more and be like, I need to eliminate this guy from the face of the earth? Almost like
At that point, it's too late. It's too late.
He's already got him.
This creepy ass child. Like, look,
and
the
the Burger
Hamburglar's
King,
fighting style is going to be like that of a haunted doll.
yeah. And the Burger
Like,
King becomes so controlled with this fit of rage, like, I need to kill the Hamburglar, and little does you know the Hamburglar's right behind him the whole time.
I don't think the Hamburglar is that smart.
I mean, dude, he's stealing
I don't think
Hamburglar
I
for a
think the
living.
Burger
I think he's
King is
instinctive.
literally just gonna choke the life out of him completely silently.
There's two good arguments coming at me right now.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be robble I think there will be a robble or two.
The Burger King will be silent himself.
I got to go with the King. I didn't want to go against Mike because he should be the expert in this field.
It
But I
is.
got to say, I do think that, to Andrew's point, like, the Burger King could probably snatch out and grab him by the neck and just, like, hold him up in the air and choke him to death. I don't know the actual true size of the Hamburglar, but again, I have envisioned him being small and wimpy.
I fully embrace the idea that the Burger King is more capable, but I think that the Hamburglar is acting on instinct, and I feel like the Burger King is acting on principle. and I think instinct will beat principle.
It's a wonderful argument, but I'm still sticking with the king.
As am
All right.
I. We'll lock that in. Vote on that on Instagram on Friday. Who would win of the week? The Burger King versus the Hamburglar. Only time will tell, Andy.
Oh, yeah. Time's already told. Burger King wins this one.
Live on pay-per-view.
All right. Mike, we've kept you for long enough, I think. I appreciate you doing this, dude.
Yeah, of course.
I
Thanks
don't
for
know if
having
there's
me.
anything else we really need to talk about. Except for perhaps, of course, you had the great Ryan Keeley on your podcast after we both met her at the podcast convention.
Yeah.
And you seemed to be a little shocked by my approach to meeting this person.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm just a little surprised by that. However, I will let it go because when she was on your show and you brought up that interaction to her, she did seem like, yeah, that was a little weird. I'll admit.
Yeah, I mean, to just go up to someone and
I didn't go up to her.
not
She was. We were
Okay,
talking.
to-
We were
to-
talking to
to
her
m-
friend.
to
She was
meet
introduced with
someone.
her.
to meet someone who fucks on camera for money, and for your way of meeting her to just be like big fan.
That's. I
The
didn't say.
amount of
I didn't say I was a
subtext-
big fan.
the
I
am-
just said I'm a fan. Like I.
Okay, big.
She was like,
big
"Hi, I'm
or
Ryan." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a
regular-sized
fan."
It's literally just saying like, "Hey, I've watched you fuck."
But that's
it's
her
basically-
job, though. Like, how is that different
I
from
get
me
it.
going up to like Timmy Chalamet, being like, "Hey, man, big fan."
No, see, I think
How
it
is
would be
that different?
different to say, hey, I'm familiar with your work versus, hey, I'm a fan, because fan implies that you've then
Jerked off to Timothy Chalamet?
Yeah, put a
of
rope-
course, who hasn't?
put a rope in your belly button.
We all have Wonka, baby.
Wonka, baby, you can't beat
I'm so
Walking
glad you're
off.
a Wonka
the
fan.
Lisan Al Gaib. Come on, getting hard just
Walking
thinking about
off.
it. Aye-ya. Every time I get a boner, that song. Aye-ya. But yeah,
You use the voice to your
fan.
get hard.
Yeah, maybe fan was not use the voice. Erection.
You've got your own water of life going on.
But honestly, at the end of the day, I'm just glad you thought about me to bring me up on the show.
Yeah, I can't jerk off to her anymore because I just keep hearing big fan. Oh no!
I didn't say big fan. I just said I'm a fan, and I am. She does
You're
great
splitting
work.
hairs. You're splitting hairs in a way that
No, I'm
makes
not.
no
It's a
difference to me.
big difference. Big fan is way worse than like saying I'm a fan. Now I agree. If I were to meet another person of note, I probably would not open with that statement. But also, I was so excited to meet her because I was thinking to myself, literally that morning when we were standing, like probably waiting to go into that, whatever it was, panel. Yeah, when we were waiting to go into that panel, I was like, man, I've had so much fun. I've never been to Los Angeles before. I've done everything that I wanted to do. The only thing that hasn't happened to me
I just
yet.
haven't beat off.
I just haven't jerked off yet, and I need something to get me going. No, but I literally thought to myself, Mike, I was like, the only thing that I have not completed on my Los Angeles trip bingo card was to meet a porn star, and then I did.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, look, it wasn't just I'm a fan. It was your face turning red and you cocking your eyebrow and going like, I'm a fan.
And I know
There's
that look.
so much more to it.
Okay, hold on. Let me think. Now, my face, I'm sure, got red because I'm an embarrassed person. I'm an embarrassing man. But let me see if I. That was probably my face. I know the eyebrows went up for sure, but I don't know if they cocked. I don't know if I have
you were
that in my
fully
repertoire. Yeah. My mouth's a little dry. I'm a fan. I definitely said it wrong. I definitely didn't do.
You said it cheeky. You did not just say, "Oh, I'm a fan." It was not. You didn't throw it away. It wasn't casual.
You're right.
It was loaded.
Honestly, Mike, I just needed to talk to somebody about this who I know could give me an honest opinion and like a real. And I'm glad that we got that now, because now I can be better. Now I can be better the next time I meet.
We learn, we improve.
Asa
we
Akira
rebuild.
or Riley Reed or any of them who I'm sure I'll meet any day now.
Yeah.
I just gotta say,
it's not happening for you, bud.
Oh yeah, they come to Buffalo all the time. They can't get enough of it.
They're over at Anchor Bar.
Yeah, which by the way, that's why you should come here. I mean, for one thing to see us, but you have to. But I think Anchor Bar
to come to Buffalo Wild Wings
should be. Well, you could do Buffalo Wild Wings, but I think you need to do an Anchor Bar episode too, for sure.
It's on the list.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I got to say, it was a pleasure meeting you. I appreciate you taking the time to hop on today. Before we take off here, I mean, we talked a ton about the show. Let people know on our end, where they can find it, what you've got going on, social medias, all stuff like that.
When's this one coming out?
Tomorrow.
Oh, great. Yeah, so I just released an episode talking about the history of Ronald McDonald and McDonald's breakfast before I do an episode reviewing it next week. I dressed as Ronald McDonald. You can find that on my YouTube. That's Fine Dining Podcast with fine in quotes. I'm anywhere you get podcasts, same deal. Leave me a review. Leave Two in the Cooler a review. It helps the algorithm. And I'm at Fine Dining Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And I'm going to launch a Discord sometime here soon. So
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's truly
good
like,
stuff.
especially in a landscape where there's so many podcasts, like, I feel like your podcasting was invented so you could do this show. Like, it's so perfect, and the way that you do it is so good. I mean, just even the dressing up as Ronald McDonald, to do it, you dress up as Shrek on that episode. I mean, that's an all-timer. Like, I don't know, man. I'm glad I said the word wrestling in one time as you were walking past me. And that was
literally.
Yep.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about how we met. I eavesdropped my way into a conversation I thought was about WWE.
And it was just in a different we were talking more about like the business of WWE, and you're like, going from the top ropes
and
or
I was
what?
like, yeah. And then it's all been history since then. You're a bud. So yeah, I'll come up there at some point, do Anchor Bar. We'll chill. It'll be a good time.
Definitely. All right. Yeah, thanks again for doing this, pal. It's good to see you. Good to hear from you. I'm glad you're staying safe over there. Yeah, I think that's it. I think we're good to go.
All right. 2 in the cooler, 1 in the stink. That's what they say.
That's what we
That
say
is what
around
they
here.
say. Awesome. We appreciate it, Mike, Andy. I love you.
Love you too. Let's get out of here. Thanks, folks.